Welcome to the Cover 4 podcast. It's only three of us today. Sad, Luca couldn't make the appearance, but it is a really early call. We're going at 8:45 on this fine Monday morning of Labor Day. Jeff's wearing white, which isn't that the rule? You're not supposed to wear white after Labor Day?
Listen, man, I'm too tired. I honestly, I always forget that this is a holiday, to be completely honest with you. So I apologize for everybody.
Overrated holiday, to say the least. Yeah. But guys, we're diving right in. Going to be a fun episode. Predictions. Everybody loves that. And us are, we're never really right with these ones. It tends to be a little bit more bold, especially when it comes to Jeff. But I'm looking forward to some Bears predictions, Jeff. But guys, let's dive right in. We're going to do some awards. And then, of course, we're going to do our playoff seeding for the AFC, the NFC, and then Super Bowl 56 predictions. So it should be an absolute blast. We're going to start with Offensive Rookie of the Year. Of course, Luca isn't on this episode today, so Bradshaw is going to be saying his answers. So, Bradshaw, why don't you say Luca's answer first for Offensive Rookie of the Year?
So, for Offensive Rookie of the Year, Luca went with Najee Harris. I can't speak to his reasoning for that, but I assume most of it is, he's going to get a lot of opportunity. He's going to have the volume, even though the Steelers' offensive line is bad. Would be putting it nicely. But he's still going to have the opportunity, and I mean, he's a big enough name. I think that's a fair pick. I think that's probably one of the guys he probably has one of the best odds. He's probably top 3 in odds. I haven't looked at the odds for it, but I'm assuming he'd be like top 3.
I think he is. A lot of the quarterbacks have pretty high odds, and even looking at last year, even though I love Justin Herbert, the quarterbacks are going to kind of get going to get favored a little bit when it comes to Rookie of the Year, even though Justin Jefferson had a record-breaking year, no problem. But all right, Bradshaw, you go Offensive Rookie of the Year then. So we got Najee Harris, which is pretty obvious answer. What do you have?
I think mine's even more obvious. I went with Trevor Lawrence, just because I wanted to be bold with this one and say let me take Kyle Pitts. Let me be a little biased and take Kyle Pitts, or I don't know, take Justin Fields, but I don't think he's going to play enough, unfortunately. I just think Lawrence is like the safe pick. I decided to be boring. He's the biggest name. He's the most talented player in the class. Sorry, Jeff. He has a ton of great receivers. They have a lot of great weapons for him. No Travis Etienne though. That's kind of sad, but I think he's gonna have a great season.
I agree. That is pretty easy answer as well. Trevor Lawrence. Wonder what the situation would be if he stayed at Clemson, seeing that Clemson and Georgia game, because boy was that dog crap. But yeah, Lawrence is going to tear it up in Jacksonville. Jeff, who do you have Offensive Rookie of the Year?
I like Bradshaw's pick because I do think Trevor Lawrence is going to put up a lot of good numbers. I think he might even maybe break a rookie touchdown record. With the receivers he's got, especially DJ Chark, I think that's actually a pretty high likelihood. I think they're still going to struggle though. I don't think it's going to be the most fun year for Trevor Lawrence, but I think it looks like you're right. It might be more fun than it would have been staying at Clemson. I am going to go with Kyle Pitts because I know earlier, we talked about our bold predictions. I predicted that Kyle Pitts would break the rookie touchdown record. And I think if he does, not the rookie touchdown record, the tight end touchdown record with I think the 17 from Rob Gronkowski. So if I'm predicting him to break that, I think generally he's going to bring up a lot of good stats. I think the fact that he is just this, different breed of weapon in the NFL, I think the NFL would have to give it to him. So I'll stick with Kyle Pitts on that. And I do kind of like giving that more to, a generally good offensive player, though it does seem to go to quarterbacks quite a bit.
Kyle Pitts is another fun answer. We were talking about this the other day, like the betting odds, and he's surprisingly low for somebody who's going to be starting day one and be an impact player on day one. Probably going to be the number 2 option. Obviously to Calvin Ridley, but regardless, I'm going to have the most obscure answer, and I probably have the highest chance of being wrong, just because I've been saying it for so long, and I love this guy. He's going to be a slot receiver for the Jets, Elijah Moore. Bold, he's fantastic. He's yards after the catch, fantastic route runner. Corey Davis is going to get a lot of attention in that offense, and understandably so, but I just think Elijah Moore has a different gear to him, right? I think he's going to be, and people have said it too. I think Patrick Peterson said it as well. He's going to be the Justin Jefferson of this year, like just a freaky offensive player who got taken a little bit later than everybody thought. Looking at the other receivers, Devonta Smith is going to be, really good as well. But Jalen Reagor's going to have to get involved with that offense too. How's Jalen Hurts going to be, obviously? And then Jamar Chase has had a horrendous preseason, right? So, looking at the receivers, Jalen Waddle, with Tua, there's already some weapons in that offense. Man, I think Elijah Moore could really take off this year. And that's why I have him as Offensive Rookie of the Year. I'll go back to back. So I'll go Defensive Rookie of the Year. Again, another hot take. There's no edge rusher in this class where I was really sold on. And I was going really back and forth with linebackers, Jimmy Davis with Washington football team, or Micah Parsons, Jeff's favorite player in this class. I went corner. And it was, again, a battle between Patrick Surtain and Denver because that defense is going to be gross. But I just think J.C. Horn is a baller. And I think he's going to have a lot of competition facing those wide receivers in the NFC South. Calvin Ridley, he's probably going to have to cover. Mike Evans, Godwin, Michael Thomas when he comes back from injury. A lot of guys he's going to have to deal with. And he is a feisty player. And I really like what he's going to bring to that defense in Carolina. So I'll say him. I know it's a little bit bolder, but that's the way that looking at this list I have, everything's going to be pretty bold. And I'd be surprised if any of them are right, but that's just what I want to go with. Jeff, Defensive Rookie of the Year. Who do you have?
I'm going to stick with my guy, JOK. I think that he will kind of be that guy that just flies all over the field. And we know everybody likes that. I think he's going to just rack up a lot of stats in that defense. I think it's too talented, to, in a sense, not try to throw the ball his way. I think he's going to be in coverage a lot, which I think is going to help boost his stats and everything, and make people really start to pay attention to him, because I think he's going to get a lot of interceptions. I think he's going to be covering tight ends and running backs out of the backfield. I think he's going to get a lot of tackles too. So I think just the simple fact that he would be, not a later round, but like he's not a first round rookie. I think he was drafted in the 3rd round, which was astonishing at the time still. So I think a guy like that, it just makes perfect sense for him to come in there. I agree with you on the edge rusher too. I'm not 100% certain if there will be a guy that, approaches like 10 sacks or something like that this year. So I think it'd be hard to see a edge rusher, but I also it's hard for me to see a corner, man, because they just typically don't give it to corners for whatever reason.
I think the last corner to get it was Marshawn Lattimore in New Orleans. But yeah, JOK is a good answer. I believe he was a 2nd rounder, and we were all stunned, and then we found out it was the heart issue. But he's healthy, which is good to see. If there is one edge rusher, maybe Bradshaw's got him. Kwity Paye would be the one for me if I had to pick one, because he was fantastic in preseason. But again, that's preseason, so it doesn't tell too much. Bradshaw, who do you have?
I can group Luka and mine together because we have the same person. We both liked this guy pre-draft, so I guess it makes sense. Jamin Davis, I think he'll have a lot of opportunity. They like giving it to guys, he'll rack up a bunch of tackles as well, which will help, but he's also a strong guy in coverage. He's incredibly athletic. It just jumped off the page to me when I was looking at some of the measurables before the draft. So I think he'll have a lot of opportunity in Washington. I think they'll have a really good defense as they did last season. And he's going to add to that. And I think he's because he's so multifaceted, right? He does everything pretty well. I think he's going to really start off his NFL career strong. And I think he'll start that off with a Defensive Rookie of the Year. And I guess Luka did too.
Yeah, no, that was somebody I was really considering as well, just because that defense is going to be so good and he's going to look really good in that system. All right, let's go Coach of the Year. Let's go. What does Luka have, Bradshaw? This one is supposed to be interesting, I've heard.
Luka has Matt Nagy for Coach of the Year. I'm gonna try my best to explain the reasoning on this, but I guess it's mostly of like, okay, so if they make the playoffs, it's like a surprising team, right? And I mean, they like to get in every sport I feel like Coach of the Year goes to either a team that comes back from like being bad the year before, or like it, is surprising, and that's probably what the Bears are going to be. They're going to be a surprising team if they make the playoffs. That'll all hinge on like if he actually plays Justin Fields, which I mean they're not doing in week 1, so we'll see. He's starting off his Coach of the Year candidacy on the wrong foot, but we'll see if he can turn that around.
Did Matt Nagy win the award when the Bears were like the 3 seed when they went to the playoffs? Jeff, do you remember?
Yes, he did. He did. Yes, he did. But that season generally was pretty good. I mean, I know like like record wise, they were actually really good. They were one of the more dominant teams. Their defense, I think Actually, was the defense number one? It might have been. I'm not 100% sure, but it was generally very good. And also the offense performed amazing. With everything that they had to deal with, right? So yeah, I think I think that was a fair vote, to be honest with you.
So we'll see if Nagy can do it this time around, especially for a team that made the playoffs last year. Even though they were a bad playoff team and you had to deal with New Orleans, it would be interesting to see if Nagy got it again. Bradshaw, who did you have though?
Similar vein to like a team that like was not great last year, but it should be really good this year or pretty good this year. I'm going with Kyle Shanahan. The Niners are going to be good this year. It doesn't really matter who starts at quarterback. As long as they're healthy, they're going to be good. And I think people are going to be like, I think a lot of voters, well, I know they'll remember that the Niners were injured last season, but it'll be like, oh, look, the Niners back in the playoffs. Look at Kyle Shanahan doing a great job. And he's a great coach. In my opinion, he's one of the 10 best coaches. You could probably even go a little higher than that in the NFL. And I think the Niners I'm spoiling my playoff predictions a little bit, but I'm sure we all have the Niners in the playoffs. But I have the Niners as a playoff team, and Kyle Shanahan will be a big reason why.
He's one of the best. Jeff, who do you have?
So I am going with a guy who I believe has never won it, but has been in the NFL for a very long time. I think it's going to be probably because they kind of scrape into the playoffs with a roster that was obviously, struggling last year. A lot of it due to the fact of COVID opt-outs and things like that. I'm going to go with Bill Belichick. I think it's partly because I don't think he's ever won one. And honestly, even if he's won one, doesn't the greatest coach of all time kind of deserve more than one coach of the year? Regardless, I just think, rookie quarterback who I think will probably look a lot better than he actually is. Their offensive line looks really good and their weapons are just garbage. The fact that they're going to get schemed open, the defensive front looks amazing right now. And I think if Gilmore comes back a little bit, then I think you're just going to have to give it to Bill Belichick. There's a chance, obviously, if someone else scrapes in the playoffs, who I don't have scraping into the playoffs, will probably get it. I think you know who I'm talking about. We'll maybe elaborate on that. But I think I have to go with Bill Belichick. I think he's got to get it at some point.
I think if there's a year to pick him, it would be this year to go Mac Jones over Cam Newton. And then if, let's say they do make the playoffs, that would be, especially for a team that I bet the under win total on. That'd be pretty surprising if they actually squeaked into the playoffs, especially with that AFC East kind of ramping up with the Bills and the Dolphins. I'm surprised none of you guys said this guy, Brandon Staley.
He was my second choice, to be honest. I have him in brackets literally right beside him.
The Chargers, I think, are going to be a really good team, and their offense was fine last year, and we know Justin Herbert's going to take a leap. They have weapons. The offensive line has improved. Rashawn Slater's been fantastic. The defense, and that's where Staley comes in, is going to be gross. They have a lot of really talented players. If Derwin James is healthy, I'm looking forward to them, and we're watching a lot of their games. Vikings games are probably going to bring me misery and hell. So I'll just, cheer for the Chargers a little bit, just because I do think they're a fun, exciting team with some nice players, and Staley brings a lot to that.
Jeff has to balance his love for Brandon Staley and his hate for Justin Herbert. It must be very tough for him to have to do that.
Yeah, I think that was the other guy who I think, if he did scrape into the playoffs, I think they just automatically give it to him, because he'd do this in spite of that overrated quarterback, Justin Herbert. He'd be struggling. He'd just be like, "Oh, I'm going to run out of the pocket like a big dumb idiot. I'm going to throw the ball deep, and I'm going to get one of my receivers killed because I just throw it up there like an idiot." And then Derwin James is going to have an incredible year and not get hurt somehow, and everybody's going to think he's magic. So that's probably how it's going to happen.
I love it. That's such a big Nolan line. Big dumb idiot.
Yeah, you're rubbing off on me, Nolan. It's been 2 years, but you're finally rubbing off on me.
All right, I'll go back to back. Offensive Player of the Year again. I always find Offensive Player of the Year is the toughest one to pick, because I don't want to go quarterback, because I don't want to take the easy way out. But it's so hard to pick between running back and receiver. So I didn't pick a running back or receiver. I went a tight end. I went Travis Kelce, and I think he had a good chance of winning it last year. The Chiefs really don't have a number 2 receiver in this offense. I don't think Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to bring a ton, even though I liked him pre-draft. I just can't see them running the ball that much where he's going to, really, really produce. Travis Kelce is the best tight end in football. We've seen it 5 straight years where he has 1,000 yards. And I think last year he had 100 catches, led the league in catch. Did he lead the league in catches? He may have. He was top 2. He's fantastic. And I think Tyreek Hill brings an element, but Travis Kelce over the middle of the field is unguardable. So I'm going to take Travis Kelce. Again, I think we could see a 100 catch season, 1,200 yards, 10 plus touchdowns. And it's going to be one of those years where they go, all right, man, he's been doing it year in and year out. Maybe we have to give it to him this year. So I'm going to say Travis Kelce. Jeff, who do you have?
My offensive player of the year. And you're right. This is probably one of the tougher ones. I think we've seen in recent years, it's kind of, shifting over to receivers. So I'm going to go with AJ Brown. I think just in general, it's more fun to be bold, guys. It's more fun to be bold. And I think he's going to have like a lot of I don't necessarily think he's going to take another leap. Like, I think he'll be better, but I think the fact he's going to have Julio Jones with him, the fact that he's just generally a versatile guy. And I think Tannehill kind of has like a comfort with him. And the fact I don't think Derrick Henry is just going to get a lot of those same home run hitter type of runs this year. I think generally the run game is going to be less effective. I think they're going to be down more this year on defense in general. I think AJ Brown's just going to go off this year. I think he's going to be, close to 1,600 yards. I think he's going to be an incredible player this year.
Everyone's high on AJ Brown. I feel like I'm the lone one on earth right now who's like, let's wait a bit. Because AJ Brown's talented. Now you add Julio to that offense. It would be very cool to see him take off and be the true number one. But AJ Brown is offensive player of the year. I love it, Jeff. Bradshaw, who do you have and who does Luca have?
I have Davonte Adams. I think Davonte Adams is finally going to have a season where he's both healthy and extremely productive. And I mean, he's having his old one last dance thing with Aaron Rodgers. You post your memes on Instagram. And I think they're finally gonna be like, oh, and maybe Aaron Rodgers actually has a good receiver with him. Maybe he's not maybe he's had talented receivers this entire time. And it's not just him throwing to a bunch of scrubs, because a lot of the receivers he's played with have been really good. And Davonte Adams is the best one. I don't know if that's a hot take. It shouldn't be a hot take, but it is. He is the best receiver he's played with, and I think he's going to win offensively. He should have won it last year, but if he was healthy, he should have won it last year. And I think this year, again, he'll be healthy. He'll be incredibly productive, as he always is. And I think he's finally going to get his due, because he's the best damn receiver in the NFL. He's the third best player in the NFL, as I said, and he's going to be offensive player of the year.
I think he was second in voting last year to Derrick Henry. And it's tough when a guy rushes for 2,000 yards. Yeah. I feel like I'm just going to give it to him regardless. But let's say if Derrick Henry ran for 1,999, it would have been Davonte Adams award, because he was unguardable. He was fantastic. Who does Luca have, Bradshaw?
He has Alvin Kavara, and I think that's I like that. I like that pick. Obviously, he'll have to shoulder a large burden of the offense, no matter who's at quarterback. He'll have to do everything, obviously, in the running game, and then, obviously, Michael Thomas he'll have to do a lot in the passing game as well. So Alvin Kavara is going to get a lot of touches. He's going to get a lot of yards. He's probably going to get a lot of touchdowns. So I don't hate that pick at all. I think that's a solid pick. If it wasn't a Saint, I would probably love it, but it's a Saint, so I just like the pick.
I considered Alvin Kamara, but I really thought, I don't know how he's going to look in this offense when you have a guy who is a big arm like Jameis Winston, where I hope they throw it more downfield, whereas Drew Brees couldn't do that in the last 2 years. And that's where there was a lot of checkdowns to Kamara, which made sense. He's such a fantastic, elusive player, but I wonder what he's going to look like in this offense. It'd be really cool to see him have that Le'Veon Bell role where he just lines up in the slot occasionally and, 4 or 5 times a game and just does his thing. We'll go back to back, Bradshaw. Defensive player of the year. Give me Luca's and then give me yours.
So Luca went with TJ Watt. I think that's another solid pick. He was second in voting last year. He'll probably have another great season this year, playing in a really great defense. I think that's another thing you have to be to win defensive player, that you have to have good players around you. So TJ Watt has that. He's also incredibly great himself. I think that's a real solid pick that Luca had. For me, I'll say the one I have now, and then I'll say the guy I originally had. The guy I have now is Joey Bosa. I think playing with Brandon Staley will be incredible for his career. Again, another situation like Davonte Adams, where I think he's going to be healthy, and I think he'll be productive, and I think he'll finally be able to put it all together. I also thought about Myles Garrett. I think Myles Garrett's a popular pick this year as well. But the guy I originally had, and I should have stuck with it, but you know what? I didn't. Brian Burns from Carolina, and God damn it, I would love to see it. I would love to. I just don't think that defense is going to be good enough to give him the help he deserves and the help he needs to, be a defensive player of the year. Maybe in a couple of years, maybe it's a bit too early, but God damn, Brian Burns is going to be so good this year, and people are going to finally realize how damn good Brian Burns is, and I can't wait. Not defensive player of the year yet, but he'll be great.
Yeah, he'll be certainly a Pro Bowler. He's fantastic. And you know what? Oh my God, I thought you were drinking a White Claw at 9 in the morning.
Just sparkling water.
We're okay. But I feel like Brian Burns is going to have that situation. And I know I talked about this probably in our group chat, but when Jared Allen had a fantastic year, nearly broke the sack record, but the defense was really bad, and he didn't get Defensive Player of the Year because Terrell Suggs, again, had a great year too, and then the Ravens defense was gross. So it might be a situation like that where Burns puts up good numbers, but the rest of the defense is rough. No. Jeff, who did you have Defensive Player of the Year?
So I think this is partly another similar situation to Bill Belichick in the sense that this player is incredible. He's great, but he may not get a chance to get a couple more Defensive Player of the Year awards.
I feel like partly I know where this is going.
Because people will think like, geez, I don't know, like this guy can barely stay on the field. And I think they just want to give him his flowers now. I think it's going to be Derwin James. I think the fact that, he's going to have the green dot on his helmet, he's going to be calling the play. He's going to be all over the place. I think, generally he's always had high praise. And the fact that I think their defense will be really, really good. And I think they're going to approach a playoff spot in spite of Justin Herbert once again. I think that they will have to give it to Derwin James. And you know what, man, like, when it's kind of similar to a linebacker, right? I think, people are going to start to see that where the stats are kind of accumulating in that way that they can kind of contextualize, oh man, this guy is stopping the run, blitzing the quarterback, covering passes, all that stuff. Even though we already know that he does that, he's finally going to get all that respect this year. And I think, like similar to what you guys are saying, I think Staley's going to go off this year. And I think it's going to really help him out big time.
He would be the first safety to win since Troy Polamalu, I'm assuming. Probably.
Yes, that's correct.
Late 2010s. But Derwin James is unbelievable. I guess I have the most obvious answer. I'm going to go Myles Garrett. Cleveland's going to be good. The defense is going to be good. Jadeveon Clowney added to that defensive line is going to help Myles Garrett a little bit, and he's going to approach some godly sack numbers and forced fumbles and stuff. He's just one of the best players in football. So I'll go him. That's obvious. So that leads me to go back-to-back for MVP. Jeff, you're going to love this one, buddy.
Kirk Cousins.
No. I didn't want to be biased, and I didn't pick any Vikings. I was considering Dalvin Cook for Offensive Player of the Year. Obviously, I didn't go that route. This one, I think the team's going to be good. The coach is going to be good. The defense is going to be good. It sucks that they're in a division with Kansas City.
Oh, no.
I think MVP is going to be Justin Herbert. I think we get that year 2 leap where he's going to have 40 plus touchdowns, under 12 interceptions. The yard's going to be flying. The completion percentage is going to be good. I'm going to go Justin Herbert. I think it's so tough to go, Patrick Mahomes consistently, Tom Brady, stuff like that. I considered Lamar Jackson because I think that team's going to be very good. And I think, Rashad Bateman healthy is going to add an element. It's hard for me not to go Justin Herbert. Loved him coming out of school. Jeff knows that. And clearly the best rookie in that class so far. And he's going to turn
better than Justin Jefferson?
Rookie quarterback.
Quarterback. Okay.
Yeah.
Not okay. I understand.
I'm not that crazy. But yeah, I'm gonna go Justin Herbert. I know that's bold, and Jeff is shaking his head. He doesn't like it at all. Clearly not a Justin Herbert.
Jeff found God with that pick. He's been praying now.
Yeah, like that's what you did to me. That's what you did to me. Been an atheist my whole life. Can't even and you made me resort to the things that I never thought I would. You're dumb. You're an idiot.
Wow.
You're a big dumb idiot. You might be a bigger dumb idiot than Justin Herbert, shaving his head. He's got nice flow. I don't know why he would do that. And then he does it. Bad decision-making, clearly. But you know what, Nolan, we'll just let you ride with that. And when you're dead wrong, I'm going to make fun of you the whole damn season. Okay. How about that?
I've placed a bet on him already to pay out for MVP. So we'll see how that one works. But I also placed bets on two other players, which were Kirk Cousins and Lamar Jackson. So
Kirk Cousins MVP.
We'll see. Kirk Cousins was 51-1 odds. So yeah, got to take those. Jeff, who did you have for MVP?
I mean, I already kind of picked it, and I think it was the bull. I think it was a bold prediction one. I know it doesn't seem bold, but I just think the fact that Patrick Mahomes hasn't gotten one, and he's like the best player in the NFL. And, you know, like despite the drop picks thing, he was still very, 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 very good. It's just hard for me to see an MVP staying away from him. Like, it's kind of ridiculous, honestly, when you're seeing the most talented player, arguably, we have ever seen in the entire NFL's history, over 100 years of history, and he's not already got a second MVP. I just think it's kind of ridiculous.
Second, I was like, Jeff, he definitely won his first one.
He won his first, but it's just the fact that like he hasn't won a second one when he's playing. He hasn't dropped off, guys. Like, not really. Like, I wouldn't even say that last year was a drop off. So I think he has to win it, barring injury. Obviously, I think if he gets injured at all, they're pretty much just not going to give it to him. But if he does perform, you know, to the same level he has been, I think it's no brainer. Just give it to him, man.
Dude, it's almost like that LeBron James effect already, where it's like, yeah, you could give it to him every year. Like everybody knows he's the best player in football, but yeah, everybody looks at the numbers too and it goes, you know, this guy, it's time to give him an award.
It's like they see it and it's like, you know what? If anything, if nobody's good enough next year, we'll give it to him, kind of thing. But Aaron Rodgers, to be fair, had I think one of the highest passer ratings of all time, or I think it was EPA or something like that. He was insane. He was still really good. He should have won it, but I agree. It seems like it's like the LeBron James effect,
which is going to be tricky for Mahomes when you start off your MVP campaign when he had 50 touchdowns. So then it's like, hey, I guess you got to surpass that to get another MVP. He's obviously the best player in football, but that is a good choice, Jeff. Bradshaw, who did you have and who did Luka have? I'm pretty sure he had a similar answer to Jeff too, right?
Yeah, Luka had Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, it's easy pick. You guys are both cowards. You taking the easy way out. Whatever. He's fine. He's not going to win though. The guy I have is going to win. I thought I was had the most bold MVP choice, but it's not. I don't think it's as bold as Justin Herbert. But
yeah.
All right, Baker Mayfield for MVP. Settle down over there. Matt Stafford is my MVP choice. I have Matt Stafford. I think it's a similar vein of like, it's a guy that's been in the NFL for a long time, and they're gonna be like, hey, look, let's give him his due. He's also gonna have a great season. He's not gonna be an undeserving MVP. He's finally, what a concept, one of the most talented throwers of all time, is gonna have a great coach and great receivers and just a ton of talent around him. And I think he's gonna finally show everyone anyone who hasn't paid attention to how good Matt Stafford's been, they're gonna find out that, hey, this guy, he's been pretty good. He's been, stashed away in Detroit and haven't had a great receiver since Calvin Johnson. No disrespect to Kenny Golladay, but if you can't get separation, you're just not that good. But I think Matt Stafford's going to win an MVP. I'm excited. I can't wait. It's going to be like a Matt Ryan kind of season where he's finally going to have a great offensive coach to help him out, and a Matt Stafford for MVP. Go Rams.
I was going to say that. I was going to say if he wins an MVP, it's going to be very Matt Ryan-like, where it's this guy's been in the league for a while. I considered Matt Stafford too. It's the weirdest thing there. That is the only player, it seems like, in the NFL where you have some people on the analytics side who really do like him, and then still people on the analytics side who hate him and think he's a bum. It's really weird, especially on Twitter and social media. But I think he's going to have a really good year, and I did consider Matt Stafford. Those are the award predictions, folks. Certainly some interesting ones. Jeff really didn't like the Justin Herbert pick, but that's okay. We'll see how he does. Looking back at my list, it was very bold. But it's going to be fun to look back and see who we picked, preseason, and then what happens at the end of the year. But this is going to be the same thing, our playoff prediction. So we're going to dive right in. I think we should go our full AFC, our full NFC, and our Super Bowl predictions all the way through. So Bradshaw, who did Luka have for his top 7 teams in the AFC, top 7 in the NFC, and who do you have in the Super Bowl?
Okay, I'm gonna expose Luka a little bit. I know we all know this, but so we'll get there. We'll read off his AFC teams first. Number one, Bills, number one seed. I think that makes the most. I think it makes sense. Number two seed, Chiefs. They'll be battling it all year. Number three, the Ravens. Number four, the Colts. And then we get to the wild card teams, which are the Titans, Patriots, and Chargers in that order. There's a pretty notable omission there. Don't worry, Luca will get to them. The NFC teams. The Bucks, number one, the Rams, number two, the Packers, number three, and the Cowboys, number four. Those are your division winners. And then wildcard teams, Niners, Saints, and then Bears in brackets if Fields plays, or Seattle. Now, his Super Bowl teams are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, obviously big Tom Brady guy. Got to have the Buccaneers there. And then if you were thinking to yourself, I think Luca missed somebody in the AFC as a playoff team. Don't you worry, guys. He has them in the Super Bowl. The Cleveland Browns are in the Super Bowl despite not being in the playoffs. I think that'll be quite the season. I think that'll really cement Baker Mayfield's MVP candidacy right there. That he'll take a team not in the playoffs to the Super Bowl. I assume he would probably have them ahead of. I'm sure he'll kick out like the Chargers or maybe even the Patriots. But yeah, the Browns and Bucks in the Super Bowl. I assume the Browns would be somewhere, maybe even have them winning the division, then bump the Ravens down. But those are his playoff teams in the Super Bowl prediction.
Similar to his top 50 list, where he just, I forgot that guy. Like he forgot the Browns and then just
and then he just put them in anyway.
I have no issues with that. The only one I'll probably talk about later on, Cowboys. Hot take, Patriots, hot take, but Luca, big Patriots guy, likes the Cowboys a little bit too. Bradshaw, who did you have as your top 7 in each conference and your Super Bowl prediction?
AFC, number 1, the Kansas City Chiefs. Number 2, the Buffalo Bills. Number 3, I actually have them in the playoffs, the Cleveland Browns. Number 4, the Tennessee Titans. Number 5, these are my wild card teams now, the Baltimore Ravens. Number 6, the Justin Herbert-led Los Angeles Chargers.
Good answer.
And number 7, the Devontae Parker-led Miami Dolphins. There's no other notable players on that team. The Miami Dolphins in the playoffs. The NFC, number 1, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the best team in the NFL. Number 2, the MVP Matt Stafford-led Los Angeles Rams. Number 3, the Green Bay Packers. Number 4, I don't care what you say, Nolan, the Dallas Cowboys. Number 5, the San Francisco 49ers. Number 6, the New Orleans Saints, as much as that pains me to do it. And number 7, the Arizona Cardinals. Because I made a prediction before the season that the Seattle Seahawks were not going to make the playoffs, and I have to stick with that because they're not going to make the playoffs. They're a bunch of bums. The Super Bowl, I have the Buffalo Bills, as good as they will be this year, and on his MVP season, the LA Rams going to the Super Bowl without John Johnson, and that'll hurt me, but they'll be led by the best corner in the NFL, Jalen Ramsey.
Agreed. He's certainly the best corner.
Someone say easily the best corner.
No one would think that.
I love that Super Bowl. That would be a fun one.
Yes.
That would be really fun offense versus really good D. We had similar AFC. NFC was all over the place for me personally. Jeff, who did you have in your top 7 each conference and Super Bowl prediction?
Okay, so I'll go with the AFC first. Number 1 seed, I have the Kansas City team. I have the Buffalo team. I have in the 3rd place, we got the Cleveland team. And in the 4th place, we got Tennessee because I just think with Carson Wentz definitely being
someone
hurt,
has to win that division.
Someone's got to win it, and it's not the other 2 guys. So yeah. And then you got Baltimore. Literally, they were going to possibly win that division if Rashad Bateman was healthy. I honestly think he was the key. It's really sad. I just had to mention that. Indianapolis after that. And then you have sneaking in because of, my coach of the year candidate, the New England Patriots. So they're going to be in there at the end. And sorry, do you want me to run through my NFC?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I was thinking San Francisco, but I got to imagine Jimmy's going to kind of struggle and might lose them a game in order for them to start Trey Lance. So I have to go with the LA Rams in there. They're number one. Tampa Bay, they have it's weird actually. Both of them have like extremely easy schedules. The problem is that obviously the NFC West is absurdly good. So Tampa Bay is 2. Green Bay, despite their last dance garbage, is 3. Dallas is 4 just because they won their division, which is the dumbest thing on earth. And but they're gonna be fun. And then we have San Francisco sneaking in there at 5, Seattle, and then finally number 7. I was thinking of your Minnesota Vikings, Nolan, but unfortunately they just seem way too dysfunctional right now. It just seems like the whole castle is just collapsing. Like this is a siege of.
They had a castle.
This is like a mutiny. It's a small, tiny sandcastle, and then Kirk Cousins just chopping away at it from the inside, you know.
Within the confines of his plexiglass box that he has put himself in.
Yes, exactly. I think that will keep everybody safe, but unfortunately, he just broke out of there. He was insane. Anyway, number 7. There's no other team I could put there, and I just think
Chicago Bears,
perhaps the greatest rookie we will ever see ever.
God.
Justin Fields, despite not starting a bulk of the games, will probably lead the Chicago Bears with a good defense to the promised land, who will lead us to the playoffs at least. That's the promised land for this season.
I was going to say that's the promised land for the Bears fan base, is just a 7th seed playoff appearance to get their asses kicked in by the LA Rams in the first round. Yeah, probably. It's but you know what? It might be a fun game because our receivers are dope. So, I think that'll be fun. Give the Chicago Bears fan base hope. Darnell Mooney, fresh off his 800-yard season after Jeff said 1,500.
He did say that. That's one of my favorite things.
1,400, but yeah, I mean, hey, he might even do it. But yeah, those are my guys. And then Super Bowl prediction, I'm going to go as well with the LA Rams, but I will stick with the team that has been there. The Kansas City Chiefs will remain in there again. So I know, sorry, a little bit boring, but I just don't really see anybody beating them. So,
hey, man, that Rams Chiefs game from a few years ago, but now you get Matt Stafford throwing the ball instead of Jared Goff.
That's kind of why I want it.
Yeah, that would be fun. Interesting. I get Dallas is going to be a fun offense. That defense stinks. That defense is going to be god awful. So I'm surprised.
All right, Ryan Fitzpatrick fan 49. Like, my goodness, the Ryan Fitzpatrick led offense is going to go to the playoffs. Yeah, okay.
I'll get to it, folks. Let's go AFC. I'll go all the way through.
Are you going to pick the Eagles?
No, God no. Chiefs 1, Browns 2, Bills 3, Tennessee 4. Again, I just Carson Wentz banged up, Quentin Nelson banged up. Wentz with these weapons, and it's very similar to the weapons he had in Philly, and I can't see it being too hot. The defense is certainly better than what the Eagles had last year, but I'm just not sold. I'm not sold on the Colts. So I'll go Tennessee winning the division. And then wildcard teams. Chargers are the top wildcard team because they're going to be a really good team. They have the MVP, but Chiefs are just too good. So, they're a 12-win team, and they'll be the top wildcard seed. Ravens at 6. I went the Dolphins at 7. I considered going the Patriots for a bit, but I go, that's a tough ask for Mac Jones and those weapons to make the playoffs. So I said no on the Pats, and I went Miami. NFC, Bucks, duh. Rams, duh. Packers, duh. Washington football team. They're gonna win the division. That defense is gonna be top 3 in football. I think we know that. And the offense, I think, can click. I think Antonio Gibson is a very underrated player. Terry McLaurin, still one of the most underrated receivers in football. They have some other weapons. Curtis Samuel got added to that offense, and Fitzpatrick can do whatever he wants to do, right? I think that he'll be fine. It's not going to be the prettiest thing ever. It's not going to be as pretty as that Cowboys offense, but it's certainly going to be better than what the Cowboys are putting out on defense. So that's why I put Washington football team winning that division, probably with 9 wins. Vikings get the top wild card.
Get out of here.
I think their defense has improved. Their offensive line has improved. We know they have maybe the best wide receiver tandem in football. They got a top 3 running back. Oh, sorry, Jeff. I didn't know Allen Robinson and Darnell Mooney.
For such a talented team, you'd think they would win more games than they do year over year.
First of all, I actually do think our wide receivers are better than yours, just for the record. But I actually was going to say the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, and then Johnson. Oh my God, like they have like 5 like potential starting wide receivers.
But I mean, the 2.
If you're saying 2, that's fine.
I think 2, and it's close. Obviously, I think obviously I'm being biased, but Tampa would be the only one I'd probably consider those 2, or Jefferson and Thielen. But
AJ Brown and Julio Jones also are
that's
2 wide receivers.
We haven't seen them play together though, Bradshaw. So
oh God, it really matters for the chemistry of those 2 wide receivers.
But no, you know what? The only thing with the Vikings is going to be the vaccination rates, because they're the worst in football. So that's fun being a fan of them, and a lot of anti-vaxxers on that team. Clearly, regardless, they're a playoff team for me. And then I have San Francisco. I hope Trey Lance plays. I could care less to see Jimmy Garoppolo play another down in San Francisco, because Trey Lance is that fun. Trey Sermon's going to be really good. Jeff's Ohio State boy. And then if Deebo Samuel is healthy, oh my God, he's one of my favorite players in the NFL. And then Brandon Ayuk's going to take another leap this year. They're going to be a fun team. 7 was so hard for me, man, because I did consider Arizona. Cliff Kingsbury sucks, so that's why I didn't put him at 7.
You'll be there this year. This is the year. This is it. I believe
he'll do something different with that offense. I went Seattle. I know it's kind of a cop out, and I don't think they're going to be that good. That offense is going to be fine. The defense scares me. I maybe maybe Dallas squeaks in there. Maybe your Bears do squeak in there, Jeff. The 7 was the hardest one for me. So I just went Seattle, just because I know Russell Wilson's going to have probably a good start to the year and tail off to the end of the year, which seems to happen every year. Super Bowl. Believe it or not, I actually had the same as Luca. Obviously, I did have Cleveland in the playoffs as my number 2 seed. I'm going to go Tampa Bay and Cleveland.
Not the Vikings?
No, shockingly not. Cleveland held their own against Kansas City last year, and that was a few plays away. I think we remember, was it the one that got screwed over where remember it was a weird play where it was like a fumble out of bounds or whatever it was, and then they ended up like it was
it was like along the sideline near the end zone, right? I forget who it was.
Touchdown to Rashard Higgins, and he got hit, and then they called it out of bounds or whatever it was, and said it was Kansas City. It was something stupid. They had a chance to win that game. And I think Odell Beckham back. Hopefully he plays to his normal self, and it's not Baker force feeding him the whole time. They're going to be a good offense, and they're going to be a good defense. And Kevin Stefanski is a great coach in Tampa Bay. I was considering going Tampa Bay and Kansas City again, but I know last year when I did my predictions for Super Bowl, I did a repeat. I did Kansas City and San Fran, and it's so hard to go the same Super Bowl back-to-back years. So we'll switch it up. No Kansas City this year. It's tough that they don't have a good number 2 receiver. I'm going to go Tampa Bay, Cleveland. That's going to do it. All of our predictions, awards, some fun ones, playoff predictions, again, some fun ones, some obvious picks, some surprise picks. But all in all, it was a blast. A shame Luca wasn't here, because we could have roasted him for, putting Cleveland in the Super Bowl, but not in the playoffs. But I'm glad Bradshaw kind of poked fun at him regardless. That's going to do it, guys. Cover 4 podcast. We'll get this episode up and rolling, and you guys can roast us for how wrong our predictions are. That's Bradshaw. That's Jeff. I'm Nolan. Luca is obviously MIA, but you guys will see him soon. We will be recapping the first week after it's all said and done. So stick around for more episodes coming. Make sure to follow Lingo Sports on YouTube, and make sure to check us out on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you get your podcasts. Take care.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please drop a like, share it with your friends, and subscribe to Lingo Sports and Lingo News for a whole lot more just like this.